Have you ever wondered why building anything that matters seems so hard today? Even when we have the money, the talent, and the technology to do it. From housing we cannot afford to energy projects that stall for years, we live with shortages that feel inevitable. But what if they are not? What if scarcity is, in many cases, a choice we have made and abundance is a choice we can make instead? Abundance is a big idea from Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson, two writers who have spent years studying politics, economics, and technology. The book arrived in a moment when people are frustrated that progress feels stuck, especially on housing, infrastructure, and clean energy. Why does this book matter? Because it argues for a new way of thinking, a politics that does not only protect what we have, but builds what we need, faster and at scale. It is for anyone who wants a future where homes are affordable, commutes are shorter, energy is cleaner, and opportunity is widespread. The core idea is simple. Many of our scarcities are not natural. They are produced by rules, processes, and habits that slow building to a crawl. The authors call for a liberalism that builds, one that keeps our values but changes our systems so we can create more of the good things people need. Let's dig into the main ideas. We will explore what is blocking progress, how to fix it, and what you can do in your own life to support an abundance mindset. First, abundance starts with building more homes. Housing is the backbone of a prosperous society. When people cannot afford to live near jobs, schools, or family, everything else gets harder. The book argues that for decades we have layered rules on top of rules, zoning laws, height limits, parking minimums, endless hearings that make it astonishingly difficult to add homes where people actually want to live. The result is predictable. Prices explode. Young people delay families. Workers commute farther. Cities lose dynamism. A simple example is a growing neighborhood where a two-story building is legally capped even though demand has doubled. Instead of adding apartments, homeowners fight any change. The status quo wins. Prices soar. A practical way to apply this idea is to support policies that legalize more housing in high-demand areas, like allowing duplexes and small apartment buildings near transit and jobs. On a personal level, you can show up for local meetings, speak in favor of new housing, or even just write your representative to support reforms that make it legal to build. Second, abundance requires fixing how we permit and deliver major projects. The authors do not say we should ignore environmental or community concerns. They argue that the process has drifted from protecting people to preventing progress. Long reviews, overlapping jurisdictions, and the threat of lawsuits can add years, sometimes decades, to projects that would cut emissions, improve safety, or reduce costs. Consider how long it can take to permit a transmission line that would connect clean energy to the grid, or how often transit expansions get trapped in analysis paralysis. Meanwhile, other places build faster and cheaper with similar or better protections. The lesson is not to slash standards, but to redesign them for speed and clarity. For example, set strict timelines for decisions, run reviews in parallel instead of in sequence, and judge projects by total outcomes, emissions reduced, lives saved, rather than paperwork completed. If you want to act on this idea, support efforts to streamline environmental reviews for clean energy, transit, and safety upgrades, and pay attention to local bond measures and procurement reforms that prioritize delivery, not delay. Third, abundance blends markets and government. This is not a book about the private sector doing everything, nor about government doing everything. It is about using both together smartly. Markets are good at discovery, finding the cheapest way to do something, innovating quickly, scaling up production. Government is good at direction, setting goals, funding basic research, ensuring fairness, and acting when markets fail. Think about the rapid development of a life-saving vaccine, where public funding set the direction and private companies raced to deliver results. Or think about semiconductors in clean energy, where public investment can catalyze private innovation. The point is to pick a destination and then choose the right mix of tools to get there. At home, you can apply this by looking for policies that combine public ambition with private execution. Prize competitions, public private partnerships, or performance based contracts that pay for outcomes rather than promises. Fourth, abundance is cultural as much as it is technical. Rules don't write themselves, they are written by people, often with good intentions, who are afraid of the wrong risk. We fear the risk of building the wrong thing, but we underestimate the risk of building nothing. We fear the noise of construction on our block, but we ignore the rising rents that push friends and family away. We fear a solar farm near a field, but we discount the risk of climate change that threatens the whole region. Changing this culture means telling better stories about progress. Celebrate the projects that make life better. Highlight the benefits of growth that people can feel: lower rents, faster buses, safer streets, cleaner air, cheaper power. A story makes a trade off visible. For example, a city that rebuilds a collapsed road segment in weeks reminds us that speed is possible when we treat delivery as urgent. You can apply this by noticing the everyday benefits of infrastructure and sharing them. When a new bus lane cuts your commute, say so. When a heat pump slashes your energy bill, tell your neighbors. Culture shifts when people experience progress and spread the word. Fifth, abundance is capacity, not just ideology. For years, politics has focused on what we should want: equality, growth, security, sustainability. The authors ask a different question: what can we actually build? If we can't translate budgets into bridges, laws into homes, or plans into power plants, then our ideals will remain slogans. Capacity means having the people, processes, and institutions to deliver. That might mean project delivery teams that specialize in getting things done, standard designs to avoid reinventing the wheel, and procurement methods that reward speed and quality. It might mean training more skilled workers and welcoming more immigrants to fill essential roles. It might mean modernizing agencies so they can use digital tools and share data. A simple personal application is to respect execution. If you lead a team or a business, spend more time on the how, not just the what. Make plans measurable. Cut steps that don't add value. Ask, what would make this twice as fast without making it worse? These ideas flow into one another. When we permit faster, we can build cleaner energy. When we build cleaner energy, we can decarbonize industry and lower bills. When housing is legal to build, more families can live near opportunity, which reduces long commutes and raises productivity. In an abundance framework, progress compounds. So, what can you do beyond voting and voicing support? Start local. Pay attention to zoning updates and transit expansions. Often, a handful of voices can sway a meeting toward delay or toward action. Be a voice for action. Support leaders who talk about outcomes and delivery, not just intentions. Reward the ones who finish projects and learn from mistakes. In your workplace, practice the same principles. Set clear goals, remove bottlenecks, and iterate on what works. Abundance is a mindset that scales from a city to a company to a household. To make this more practical, here are simple applications for each idea. For housing, say yes to gentle density. If your block debates a small apartment building, consider the upside for renters, seniors, and young families. For permitting, back policies that put clocks on decisions and combine public input with clear timelines. For markets and government, support programs that pay for performance and fund research that opens new industries. For culture, talk about progress you can touch: the shorter commute, the lower bill, the safer street. For capacity, ask leaders to measure results publicly, use standard designs when possible, and recruit more builders, engineers, and inspectors to accelerate delivery. One common concern is that abundance means losing control. The fear is that growth will favor the powerful, harm the environment, or erase neighborhood character. The answer is that the real threat to fairness and sustainability is stagnation. When housing is scarce, the rich outbid everyone else. When clean energy projects stall, Fossil fuels fill the gap. When transit is delayed, traffic and pollution rise. Abundance is not the opposite of justice. It is a way to make justice real by making good things common. A fair society needs more of what works, not just rules against what might go wrong. Another concern is that speed equals sloppiness. But speed is not recklessness when we design for it. Think of safety standards set at the start, not added at the end. Reviews run in parallel, not serial. Transparent metrics shared with the public. Rapid pilots before full rollouts. These tools make us faster and safer at the same time. Plenty of industries already operate this way. The question is whether we will bring the same mindset to housing, infrastructure, and energy. Abundance also challenges our politics to imagine a future worth building. Many people feel that politics only tells them what they cannot do. No to building there, no to trying this, no to change at all. The authors invite a politics that says yes to big, shared goals: abundant housing, abundant energy, abundant opportunity. Not yes to everything, but yes to enough of the right things that everyday life gets cheaper, cleaner, and easier. If that sounds lofty, remember that the benefits show up in the most ordinary places, like a rent that fits your paycheck, a bus that arrives on time, a bill that does not spike when you turn on the heat, a clinic that opens nearby rather than on the other side of town. Let's recap the key takeaways. First, scarcity is often a policy choice. We make rules that slow or stop building, and then we live with the consequences. Second, abundance requires a liberalism that builds. Legalize more housing, streamline permitting, and measure success by results. Third, markets and government both matter. Use markets to discover and scale, and government to set direction and ensure fairness. Fourth, culture counts. We need to shift from fearing change to balancing risks honestly, and from celebrating obstruction to celebrating delivery. Fifth, capacity is destiny. If we cannot deliver projects quickly and well, our values will never leave the page. When these pieces come together, we get a flywheel of progress where housing becomes affordable, energy gets cleaner and cheaper, and public services improve. If this resonates, consider reading the full book to dive deeper into the details, the case studies, and the policy tools. And if you want more content like this, check out our other videos on housing reform, clean energy breakthroughs, and smart government. Ask yourself one question as you go. What is one project in your city, your company, or your life that you could help move from no to yes? Share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what progress you want to see, and let's keep the conversation and the building going.